For anyone that's joining us, I know the last session was just finishing up. You can ask questions. There's a chat here. It says session chat. So feel free, I guess, to ask Sara any questions. And towards the end of the presentation, we can go through those, right? Sara, is that?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. Yeah. So I just wanted to, say thank you for being here. I know it takes a lot to prepare and that sort of thing. So we really appreciate your time. I'm joined by Sara, who's the career coach and CEO of the Career You Love Academy. So, you're going to talk about fixing the top 3 job search mistakes. So I'm really interested to learn what those 3 mistakes are and how they can be corrected. I'm always chatting with job seekers and things like that. And I always learn something from a presentation. So really looking forward to your content. I just want to give you an introduction and then I'm going to pass it over to you for the next 25 minutes. So Sara Curto is a career management specialist with 15 years of experience as a career coach and talent acquisition specialist in the education, corporate, and recruitment agency world. She is passionate about helping people discover and land a career that they love in half the time it takes a normal job seeker. Sara has screened tens of thousands of resumes and LinkedIn profiles, has conducted thousands of phone, situational, and behavioral-based interviews, and has negotiated offers on behalf of successful candidates. She wants to share with you the behind-the-scenes secrets to help you get noticed, create connections, and find your way to a fulfilling career. She's a certified human resource leader, certified career strategist, and a certified professional resume writer. So really honored that you're joining us and sharing your information. I think everybody wants those behind the scenes sneak peeks. So again, thanks so much. We'll be back towards the end to help you with any questions and kind of just do a quick conclusion. So thanks again, Sara, and I'm going to leave you to it.
Excellent. Thank you. Well, hello, everybody. I think the best thing for us to do will be to save the questions for the end. However, as the questions come up, just pop them in the chat so you do not forget them. I will see them when we get back to it, so don't worry about that. Now, I'm Sara. So I know Rachel just did an introduction. I am the coach for getting people out of the job search they hate and into a career they love. I am a teacher of a new, better way to job search, and I really am a community builder and connector. And I do that in my free Facebook group, the Career Networking Group, and in my monthly membership, the Career You Love Academy. Now, you're here today because your job search isn't going according to plan. You're in the right place if you're thinking, like, what the heck am I doing wrong? Why isn't this working? It just doesn't seem fair. It seems so easy for everybody else. What should I even be doing? And it's leaving you feeling angry and annoyed, insecure, frustrated, overwhelmed, like all of those things. I'm glad you're here because we are going to really help with that. Now, I'm just going to jump right in because I have a lot of information. Anyone who has ever been to any of my free events or any of my training, I have a lot to say, so I really want to get on with saying it. Now, all mistakes, all problems with job searches come down to one of 3 categories. And you're here because you have faced a number of problems in your job search. And I know that the fastest way, how we accelerate job searches, is by quickly solving for problems, because problems will happen. And so when we can categorize what the problem is, where the mistake is happening, means we can quickly solve for it. So in my experience, all problems are either a confidence problem, a strategy problem, or accountability problem. Let me show you how. Mistake number 1 is your job search consists mostly of job boards. And why? It's because it's the easiest way to find a job, right? And you're terrified and confused by networking. Well, you know you should do it, but how exactly? But the problem with this is only 20% of jobs are filled using job boards. So you're missing out on opportunities and you're making your job search last way longer and making it more difficult than it really needs to be. Now, how you know if this is you? The endless scroll. You know what I'm talking about. The obsessive, there has to be something new. There has to be something I'm going to apply to today, where we are just spending so much time on Indeed, on LinkedIn, on any of the job boards. The problem is we always have this like underlying anxiety, and it never seems to go away. We actually get nervous and thinking, oh, I need to be doing more. So we go on a job board thinking it's going to make us feel better. But in fact, we usually end up feeling even more anxious than when we started. Now, the fix to this, it is a strategy problem. So your strategy here is to one note. So you just need to do more. You need to network, you need to engage with other people, and you need to spend some time learning. So let's dig deeper into strategy problems. We know you're having a problem with your strategy in your job search when you've applied to many jobs but have not gotten any interviews, or only a couple. You maybe have gotten interviews, which is amazing, but for some reason you can't seem to get past that pre-screen, or maybe the second or the final interview. There's a stage or phase of the interview process that you just can't seem to get through. You're only doing one thing, like those job boards, or you're sticking to the traditional job search, the one that we update our resume, we go on job boards, we send a mass email to everybody we know, rinse and repeat. We also know you have a strategy problem when you are really concerned about the right way of doing things, which means you may be spending a lot of time Googling the right way of doing things. You're constantly reworking things. I'm talking your resume, the jobs you're applying to, your cover letter, your LinkedIn profile, all the things you're constantly reworking it, which means you're fed up with it all. You're like, if I don't have to see my resume again, I'll be super happy. So if this is you, in the chat box, let me know if you have a strategy problem. Let's see, write it up. Let's see how many of you have a problem with your strategy. I'd love to see that. Now let's move on to our second mistake. The second mistake is you're spending too many or too little hours job searching. Now, if you're spending too many, you're probably doing it because of that traditional job search advice where you're supposed to treat your job search like a full-time job. So that's like 40 hours, right? The problem is the job search sucks and it doesn't give us much except rejection, and a lot of rejection, which means we start to feel like it is impossible. It becomes much harder to believe that you're going to end up in any job, never mind a job you actually want. And how you know this is you, if you're spending too many hours on your job search, it's because you're exhausted, you're overwhelmed, you're angry, you're frustrated, again, like all those things. And you end up filling many hours with researching how to find a job. Now, let's talk about the fix. The fix is I want you to be more intentional with your search. This is a type of accountability issue where you are being perfectionistic with how you need to show up the right way for your job search. Now, I still like to consider a job search, if you are actively searching, if you're not currently working, as like a part-time job. If you're actively working, as like a side hustle. Which means if you're actively looking, you should not be searching for a job more than 20 hours a week. And I know that sounds crazy to anyone who has prescribed to the 40-hour a week job search or 35-hour a week job search, but my clients, they even rarely spend 20 hours a week. And we find jobs in half the amount of time of the normal job search. And it's because we are very intentional with what you're going to actually do with those hours. Now, when you have spent too little, the reason why you're doing this is you're probably avoiding something, which is usually a negative feeling, or you've given up because it seems pointless. Now, the problem is here, obviously, you can't find a job if you aren't looking for a job. And so this is you if you're procrastinating big time. Like if you're actively searching, meaning not working, your house may be super organized. Your Netflix queue is completely empty. Your cupboards are bursting with baked goods. You're doing anything but looking for a job. And you're finding it hard to motivate yourself to do anything. Now, this is the more obvious accountability issue. And I want you to figure out what it is you don't want to be feeling. Maybe it's that rejection. Maybe it's you've been laid off and you don't know how to tell people that you've been laid off. You're embarrassed or you don't want them to think you're fired. Maybe it's you thinking that it's pointless and it's never going to work because it hasn't been working. We need to identify what it is that is stopping you from showing up for yourself so that we can take care of it and move on. Sometimes it's a conversation and you move on. Sometimes it takes a week, but once you've moved on, then you're accelerating. You're not just showing up for the sake of showing up or avoiding it completely. So let's talk more about these accountability issues. Now, we know we have an accountability problem when, like I said, you're avoiding your search or you're doing the bare minimum, or you can't seem to muster the courage to do things other than apply to jobs on Indeed. An accountability problem is when you are telling yourself you're going to do something and you are not following through on it, when you no longer do those things you say you're going to do. Now, maybe a month ago, maybe it was in the summer, I saw a funny thing about opening up Excel, but Netflix comes up. And I see this and hear this all the time with job seekers, is they open up LinkedIn with all the best intentions to network. And the next thing they know, 2 hours have passed and they've only looked at the job section. So we don't want that. We want to hold ourselves accountable for actually doing the things we want to do. So share again in the chat who is having a problem with accountability, who is either just doing things for the sake of doing. Another way we know you have an accountability problem is you are easy applying to like hundreds of jobs without actually doing anything with your resume. So that is another accountability issue. Let me know if you have that. Okay, mistake number 3. This is a big one, and it's a common one, and it's a sneaky one. It's you applying to jobs that you don't even want. And you're doing this because you think no one is going to hire you, so you can't be picky. This has probably happened after a long time of getting rejected or, bad advice from a loved one where they're like, you can't be so picky. Usually it's a parent. Now, the problem here is you are looking for validation that you are worthwhile from someone that isn't you. So how you know you're struggling? You see a job and you think, well, I could probably do this, or I guess I could do that, or I could totally do this job in my sleep. So you apply for it and you don't get an interview, or you get an interview, but you don't get the offer and you're gutted. You are so disappointed that you didn't get the job, that you didn't even really want. So the fix here is to stop applying to jobs you don't even want. And we're going to use that time to solve the real problem here, and that is your confidence. I'm going to talk about the fix next, but I do also want us all to agree that we're not going to take advice from people who know nothing about this current job market, because they tell us advice, we think that they're right, they are wrong though, and then we use it against ourselves and our confidence. So it's just a little soapboxy thing. So let's talk about confidence problems. We know we have a confidence problem when you aren't applying to jobs, or you're applying to too many jobs. We know you have a confidence problem when you're really confused on what you really want to do, and you're thinking that you need to widen the net of the types of jobs you're applying to. We know you have a confidence problem and you find it really difficult to talk about yourself in networking, in interviews. It makes you really nervous. Maybe you even avoid networking because of it. Or other people say great things about you, or they see great things and you don't believe it. You think it's a fluke. You think it wasn't really you. We also know you have a confidence problem when you've been stuck at a job for a really long time. The longer we're with a company or in the same job, our confidence normally dips. It's a normal thing. We also know you have a confidence issue when you take an offer that you don't want, or you take an offer without negotiating, or you run from any uncomfortable conversation, networking, interviewing, talks with the boss, money conversations. We know you have a confidence problem when you're running the other way. So who does this sound like? Who has confidence problems? So faith in the recruitment process, Tanya, Hubert, yeah, all of you are seeing that you are having some problems with some point of the job search, and it's being categorized into one of these. So let's talk about how to fix all of them. These are my 3 simple steps for job search success. It's you discovering your confidence, who you are and what you want. It's you creating your brand, your strategy, and your story, and you executing on action plans, accountability, and getting hired. Let's talk about them. So discover. Your confidence has you stuck. It has you questioning your value. It has you confused about what you should do. It has you terrified to connect with others. It also has you struggling to sell yourself in interviews. My start to building confidence is 3 simple steps. I really want you to recognize your trash talk. And no matter what you think is going on in your head, I know that you are talking badly to yourself because we are human and we all do it. So I need you to recognize it. And then I want you to start being kinder to yourself. And then I want you to decide daily to believe the kind words and not the mean ones. So when the mean ones are telling you you have no point or no business applying to this job, but it makes 100% sense, then you're believing that it makes 100% sense and that mean thing that you're saying to yourself is not true. Once we start building our confidence, it really allows us to get unstuck, to get clear, and to get talking. Then I want you to discover who you are. So I love assessments, and I have all my clients do them, especially the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, which is gold standard in the career counseling world, and the Enneagram, which is not. I'm like the only career coach that uses it, but I love the Enneagram, which tells us our motivating factors. And for anyone out there who likes those, I'm an INFJ and a 2, kind of makes sense that I love them. But learning more about who you are allows you to figure out the type of work that you would be easily successful in and happy in. It will also teach you how you get in your own way, which can be such a big eye-opener. And it helps illuminate other skills and strengths that you bring to the table that you may not even realize. And then I want you to discover what you want, like what you want. Spending some time figuring out what you actually want to do and what kind of job and company or industry that you want to work in. This has you focusing all your effort into one clear direction instead of spinning in many. So if you notice with these graphics here, I have the one where you're going all over the place. That is the scattergut approach. That is the throwing a pot of spaghetti up against the wall and just hoping something will stick. Rarely, nothing sticks. You may eventually get to your outcome, but it takes you so much longer. Whereas if we look at this line down here, and I chose a squiggly line on purpose because it's never a straight, easy line. It's always some obstacles that we have to overcome. But if you notice, it has us going in one direction. We will get to our outcome so much quicker and easier. The other reason why we want to know what matters most to you is during those lows, because they will happen. It allows you to center your search. It keeps you disciplined when you aren't motivated anymore. And it also means your strategy and branding is focused on obtaining a thing and not all of the things. And once we know who we are and what we want, we can then start to create. We can create your brand, especially when we have that confidence and we know exactly what we want and we know who we are and what we bring to the table. It really makes this marketing ourselves so much easier. Now, I call it your brand, a marketing term, because this is a marketing plan. You are a product trying to sell yourself into a company. Now, in a set of marketing documents, your resume, your cover letter, and your LinkedIn profile, I want you to think about an advertisement. An advertisement doesn't list all of the features. They do focus groups to know what their target audience wants. They create a marketing strategy that gets those people wanting to buy them. Your resume, cover letter, and LinkedIn profile is the same. We want the applicant tracking system, the recruiters and hiring managers to want to buy. Well, in this case, interview you. We do that by running our own focus groups, by collecting 3 to 5 job postings that are indicative of the types of jobs we want, and performing an analysis that allows us to take that information, all of the comparative information, and write a resume that makes sense. Then we're going to create a strategy, because having a resume only gets you so far. Because how are you actually going to find those job opportunities? Obviously, I'm going to suggest networking, and I'm sure you've attended events on networking or Googled events on networking or listened to things. You know that 70 to 80% of jobs are secured through them. You know that networking allows you to tap into the hidden job market. But what it also does is it gives you advice that makes things easier, gives you information that gives you an edge throughout the hiring process, and gives you practice telling your story. And it gets you engaging and off the job boards, meaning it gets you out of your own head. Now, I do know a lot of career coaches and job search coaches tell you to focus all your energy into networking and to ignore job boards altogether. Well, I am not that coach, because, of course, you will still want to use them. But let's be strategic with them. Let's maybe only go on them a couple of days a week or for a specific amount of time each day, and think beyond Indeed and LinkedIn and look at some niche job boards. Now let's talk about your story, because you need to get really comfortable telling your career stories and all of the little stories within it. Now this means that you won't be Googling the 25 most popular behavioral-based questions and preparing an answer for each one the night before. This means you also won't panic if you get an interview request for tomorrow or a recruiter calls and you happen to pick up. You'll be able to focus on what matters in an interview, which is connection, building a relationship, while also showing them who you are and how you can help them. Now, I want to start talking about how we actually execute, how we get a job offer quick. We do that by creating and implementing consistent action plans. And we do this from a place of confidence and intention. And that is truly the secret sauce to a successful job search and a fast one. Now, every week, I want you to ask yourself, how many hours will I spend on my job search? And if you recall, the max is 20. I want you then to ask yourself, how am I going to actually use those hours? And what are my top 3 things that I need to do? And then my favorite question, how will I have fun? How am I going to have fun with this process? Which sounds, I know, silly, but it is the secret. Now, let's talk about accountability, because I don't know about you, but I can be pretty perfectionistic about my plans, meaning that if my Monday doesn't go according to this perfect plan that I've laid out, that I sometimes ignore it, or spend the week perfecting it again, thinking that it's the plan, or beating myself up, feeling angry and ashamed and unproductive. which means that I don't get as much done. You could also be avoiding these plans because you're kind of liking the freedom of not having a job, or the shame of being unemployed is crippling. Now, whatever the reason, like I mentioned before, you need to find out, you need to deal with it, and you need to move on. And even if that means that you're not getting started until Friday afternoon and you only get a half thing done on your list, all this execution will lead to results, because working on our action plans and accountability is really so worth it. We begin to see the results with interviews and then an offer or two. And finally, we find that job we want, the career we love, and we can begin to make an impact, which means we won't dread our days anymore, and we'll be filled with a sense of fulfillment, knowing we have a purpose again. So if there is just one thing that you take away today, is you can go from a hellish job search to a career that's perfect for you. You do not have to settle. So if you want more, I actually have a free masterclass that talks through the 9 most common mistakes made in a job search. It is, I'm trying to think, maybe a little over an hour long. So a little bit longer. I go through things in a little bit more detail. And then to find me, you can email me, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. In fact, you should. Let's get you as close to those magic 500 as possible. And you can also find me on Instagram. Reach out if you have comments, questions, or more, any of that. Okay. At the end there, I was like talking so fast because I can see we're running out of time. Let's go through some of these questions. And if you have questions, so I've lost faith in the recruitment process. The recruitment process is broken. That is a fact. But the other fact is you also need a job. So unfortunately, you cannot fix it externally. It's up to the people internally to fix it. All you can do is make it work for you right now. So the question I'd like you to ask yourself is, how is the recruitment process working for me, so that we can get you in a positive headspace again about everything, so that you can believe in the possibility, because that belief is very important. Say, Arlene, if you guys have further questions about it, ask me below. But I know it's so easy for your brain to find all of the evidence and how the recruitment process is working against you. So I really encourage you to take that time, even if it's just 5 minutes, even if it's just on a walk, even if it's with a journal, on finding evidence of how it is actually working for you. Okay, Hadra. I'll be fine in interviews, but approaching strangers on LinkedIn is a little bit of a roadblock, given I'm an introverted INFJ. Hello. So embarrassing. I can't believe I said that. I'm applying only to the jobs I want, personalizing the resume and cover letter, but not getting anywhere. I want storytelling jobs. There aren't many, but I can do well marketing jobs well. So I'm applying across marketing and media. As an INFJ, I use both sides of the brain so I can be creative and logical. So ideation and strategies with business acumen. I will definitely connect with you. You're a little lost. Is it because you're not messaging recruiters on LinkedIn? Don't message recruiters. Like, unless they're external recruiters, they could be good, but even still, more than likely you won't get anywhere with them. They will probably not respond unless they have something for you. But I would find other people who do the job you want to do, and I would start connecting with them. And you can connect with them by saying, your job sounds really interesting. How did you do it? Simple as that. Okay, let me just turn this off. And then the other thing is, with your resume and cover letter, I want you to make sure it's applicant tracking system ready. And I think that's as much information I can give based off of the information we have here. Sail, I apologize if I'm butchering that. I'm all kinds of lost, do not know where to go. 2021 is the first time I started searching for a job since 2016. 6 years of IT project management. All needed is project management certifications, motivated and ready for job challenges, but can't proceed to apply. What's wrong? If you can't apply, that is a confidence issue. So then I would recommend you working on your confidence so that you can confidently apply to jobs. The other thing that I would recommend is if you are applying, then make sure that your resume reads as if you are a project management professional. So take a look, Google it, or there's on Lynda, or now it's LinkedIn Learning. Through your library, you can take a project management course for free. It is not a certification course, but it is a great overview of the entire methodology. And then you can apply what you've done to that methodology so that your resume sounds like a PM resume. Okay, Tashdeep, what to ask in the follow-up messages every week? Can you clarify about that? Arlene, it doesn't work because I'm told constantly to dumb down my resume. Do not do that, or go for survival jobs. All you have said is ideal, but in reality, it doesn't work as it really should. I have connected network and have been to, yeah. Sadly, I had to relocate to the USA to get a job in my field. I'm sort of known as the finder of unicorn jobs. And I think a little bit is that I am an idealist, and even my cynic clients borrow from that. And it's because I don't believe in dumbing down your resume. I don't believe in that. So let's just not do that, because we don't want someone to hire the dumbed down Arlene. We want them to hire Arlene. And I think that I would love to get my hands on your career, because I feel that the advice you're getting is not working for you right now. I want you to perhaps work on your confidence and really figure out who you are and what you want, and go for that. You can get a survival job in the meantime to give you more time if you want, if that will take off the pressure. But I believe that everyone can find exactly what they want. And I've helped hundreds of clients in the past 4 years do exactly that. And so I've seen it happen. I know it's possible for everybody. Hadra, you go beyond LinkedIn and Indeed. How to, great, thank you. So what I mean is there's a lot of niche job boards out there. There's Work and Culture for arts and culture jobs. There's Charity Village for not-profit jobs. There is Higher Authority for HR jobs. There is Work in Mining. I think it's Work in Mining for mining industry jobs. So many industries have their own jobs, and some companies may only post within those associations. There's also Link Up, I believe, which is better. It's like the same sort of aggregator like Indeed is, but better for company career websites. Okay. Tajdeep, I was trying to find a part-time IT job as a student, but I'm unable to find anywhere. If anyone knows any leads, please drop in links or emails. Good for you for doing some networking there. But I'm not sure what you mean about what to ask in the follow-up messages every week. If you mean the questions to ask yourself, that is the for your action plan. How many hours am I going to have to devote to my job search this week? What do I want to do with those hours? And what are the top 3 things I need to accomplish? Whew. Rapid fire. I'm glad this is recorded and everyone can watch it again so that they can. You certainly don't need to be pressing the speed up my voice. Certainly don't want to be doing that. But if there's any other questions, just let me know. I hope you connect with me. I hope you watch my free masterclass, because it is like so good. Like, people have fixed mistakes just from watching it and have gotten incredible results, meaning offers. I like multiple offer scenario, go for broke and all that. And it is definitely will help. But I think that is everything. Looks like that is the last. You're welcome. Okay, I'm just reading Arlene's. Made a presentation. Yeah. So I recommend you do this every few months. You do that check-in with who you are and what you want in an active job search. Every time you're doing a job search, You're doing it again from scratch because our motivations change. And with our growth and wisdom, we even view ourselves differently and we always learn something new. You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, I'm wondering if Rachel's coming back or not. But I want you to, so what I mean having fun, I'm just going to keep talking until she comes back because why not? But if you have to leave to go to another event, I won't be hurt. But if you're here, what I mean by having fun is for me, for my job searches, I would always plan to do things that I struggled to do when I was working. So that was like going for a hike in the middle of the day when the trails were empty. It was like my absolute favorite was watching a movie in the middle of the day. Like it kind of felt so luxurious and a little bit wrong, but just like, oh, so right. You're welcome. I also recommend going to a mall, especially right now. It's a perfect time. So to avoid crowds, to do things, going to the museum when it's not so busy, just finding the little bits of joy that you can like insert into your weeks, it will reap so many rewards because rest is so productive. And it's like, I know for many individuals where that anxiety of I have to find a job right now, it seems counterintuitive and counterproductive. But I know the average job search in Canada is 6 months long, but I know the average job search in my academy, in my Career You Love Academy, is only 6 to 8 weeks long. So that is never spending 20 hours or more a week looking for a job. That is doing things you actually enjoy, being creative, having fun, rolling with all of the punches that the job search is going to throw at you. Okay, well, I don't see Rachel, but I hope that you got a lot out of this. I hope to see you in my network. I guess I'm just going to leave. Oh, it took me 5 years and I had to settle for a job I was overqualified for. Yeah, no, thank you. No, not on my watch. And oh, Touch Deep, you've added the clarification. I meant how to stay connected with the employers where I applied, like following up with them. But it's going to feel awkward if I always talk about if they have any positions. Oh, no, not every week. They're like an egg in your hand and you don't want to crush it, or like a potato chip. I'm a runner, and that's a thing with running. You have to pretend you have a potato chip in your hand, and if you squeeze too much and you don't want to crush it. I know my analogies are weird, but networking connections are like that. Employers are like that. If you've applied and you sent a follow-up email, you send one more follow-up email 2 weeks later, and then 6 weeks later, you send a follow-up email saying, I'm guessing you went in a different direction, but I would love to have a conversation with you so I can find out more about about what I can do to make myself a more attractive candidate for the next job. So if you notice, that's 1, 2, 3 emails total. Every other week, you're just going to be stage 5 clinger. If you've watched the Wedding Crashers movie, no one wants that. No one's going to hire that. It's manager is going to be like, oh, this is too much. Recruiters get very annoyed very quickly, and they are your best advocates, so we don't want to do that. So that's like a little bit of the harsh reality of what goes on in recruiters and hiring managers' minds. But it's reality that is good for you to know so that you can hold them very gently. Okay. Have a great day, everybody. It was so good being here to talk to you. Reach out again if you have any further questions. Take care.